Okay, well, so I went and looked at a couple of people that I think, well, there was one. Hi, Jeanette.
Hello.
Okay. I think we might just be waiting for one more person. I think Elena, she accepted anyway. So we'll just give her a few more minutes, but in the meantime, I guess we could introduce ourselves to Jen. I don't know if I recall I haven't met Jen yet. But I'm Andy Shaner. I'm the PI for the Planetary Reach Program, funded through the SciAC programs. I don't know if we've probably seen each other, maybe at the SciAC meeting.
Probably, yeah, if you've gone to SciAct,
Or
but
at
there's
least-
many faces there.
Yeah, so. Alexandra, you want to introduce yourself?
Sure. Hi, everyone. I'm Alexandra Mathieu Novak, and I'm a co-I on the Planetary Reach team, and I'm also a planetary volcanologist at Johns Hopkins Applied Physics Lab. So I'm on the team as a subject matter expert for planetary science. Oh, was I supposed to say the next person?
No, that's fine. That's fine.
How about Jeanette?
Hey, everybody. I'm Jeanette King. I am part of the evaluation team for Planetary Reach.
Thanks, Jeanette. Kelly, have you met Jim before?
Maybe. I apologize. I think maybe, but I'm Kelly Keeley. I'm part of the evaluation team for the Arctic and Earth Science Project with Elena.
Hi, Elena. We're just going around introducing ourselves to Jen real quick.
Okay.
This is the first time well, this is the first time you've been on a call with us for this too, although it's only our second call. So I guess,
Right. So should I introduce myself then?
sure.
Hi, I'm Elena Sparrow. I'm in Alaska, University of Alaska Fairbanks, and PI of the Arctic and Earth Science Project. And I'm joining you from the lands of the Tanana Dene people of the Lower Tanana River. And I acknowledge their long-term stewardship and continued stewardship. So we're working on working with the indigenous people for sovereignty and self-determination. Thank you. Good to meet all of you.
Thanks, Elena.
Great, I can introduce myself. Jeanette and Elena, I'm so sorry you missed it. I'm feeling under the weather, so I am gonna have my camera off, and I'm sorry because it's the first time I'm meeting many of you. But my name is Jen Gruber. I am one of the external evaluators for the Planets project, and that's kind of how I ended up in this call. I'm excited to learn more, and I actually did my first 2 years of college at University of Alaska Southeast. So not Fairbanks, but I was at the Southeast campus for a couple of years. So I'm excited to have that connection.
Right, great, thanks. So just to catch everybody up to where we are, so back at the SciAC meeting in November of last year, there was a cross collaboration agreement that was signed between Reach, Arctic and Earth Science, and Planets. Nothing real specific other than that we would collaborate this year and with the intention of at least putting together a paper, not necessarily publishing or even submitting one for publication, but just that we would prepare a paper about working about partnerships, about partnering with like community partners and who we've worked with. And so that was it. That's like kind of all we said. And then we never, we finally got together at the end of April, about a month ago, and had an initial conversation. with folks from all three teams. And in that conversation, we ultimately decided that we would like to move forward with a paper, but possibly even before a paper, maybe even take a step back and look at possibly just submitting like an abstract somewhere. Or possibly something like a white paper, not necessarily something to go into a referee journal. Just with this idea of partnering with local communities. A few more specifics other than that were discussed, such as the importance of partnerships and lessons we've learned from forming various partnerships. Talk about how the three teams have approached partnerships, what works, beginning and forming partnerships. And we thought about, how could stuff like this, whether it's a paper or abstracts, whatever, be leveraged, thinking ahead of SIAC 3.0. Question, who's the audience for whatever products are that we create, and if there's any possible journals where something like this might be of interest. That's about as far as we got in May. So we're still very early in this. So I think what we want to do today is see if we can't maybe come up with some more specifics, maybe even, I don't know, where something we could submit an abstract coming up that could be useful, and think about what we would put in that abstract. Any other thoughts from that last meeting for those of you that were there? Maybe I didn't hit on.
I think that's a good summary, Andy. That's how I remember it. It's hard to believe that was a month ago already.
Yeah.
So I'm wondering whether any of the sessions that has been proposed from SIAC at AGU might be a good starting point for each of our projects, or as a collaborative, to because the presentations are very short, to maybe have individual, presentations about the partnerships that we have had and what has worked in our.
Yeah, it's definitely something to look at. I was actually just looking at that today. They're supposed to release sometime mid-June, I think, is when they release when they have the selections for the sessions.
And then the ask for abstract submissions.
Then there's like a month to get abstracts in.
Right. Yeah.
Thinking about what Elena proposed there, it might be interesting to get an entire session and then have each of the groups do their quick presentation and then something that pulls it all together, or a panel to discuss all together.
Or it could be a panel instead of separate.
Yeah. Just give kind of a snapshot of the work that you've done, and then talk. Maybe have some guiding questions and talk across the projects.
Right. On what seems to be successful strategies.
And why it matters.
Right.
That's something that we really want to stress. Why it's important to work with communities.
Yes. Yeah, but we're a little bit late submitting a session. I mean, it's past and so oh gosh, yeah. I didn't even think about it, because at that time, there were so many things going on that was a hard time to.
I have no doubt there'll be one, if not more, sessions that something like this could go in at AGU. I mean, AGU last year, Reach had a paper in 4 or 5 different sessions, and in different topics, or I don't know what we call it.
Yeah.
there's like one like in communications, there was one in SciAct, I think there was one in
Mhm.
evaluation, they're all over the place, so,
Right,
um,
yeah, okay.
now, I don't know. Would abstracts, like, well, whoever, whoever the chairs or whatever they call them for sessions, that put sessions
The
together,
conveners,
the conveners. I don't know if when you get your accepted email, if they've already put their session together. Or if you just get an email saying that it's been accepted and they're still working on the order. My thought just being that if if we did individuals into the same session, and there was some way we could see about how them together with a panel, I don't know.
right. The panel might be a little bit harder because, yeah, usually a panel session is part of the proposals for the session.
Can,
Yeah,
oh, I see.
unless,
So you couldn't have a session where you have orals and then build in time for a panel unless you already wanted your session to be like that to begin with.
yes, I think
Okay.
so. And or the other alternative is if the conveners are open to that, they could always break out into after some presentations, then have a panel also. Yeah, depending on what the focus of the session is.
Yeah, I guess the number of abstracts they get.
Yeah,
Okay. Well, I guess there's nothing else. Once we submit them, we could contact the conveners and pitch that idea.
yeah.
Cool.
Because another thought is we could look for a special issue on community collaborations and then, ask for abstracts be submitted and then papers towards those, a special issue in Journal of Geoscience Education or I don't know, that's one of the journals that comes to mind.
So you request for a special issue or you just,
Yes, yes. Sometimes some journals look for, special issue topics, and some we pitch it to them and say, we think we have enough people interested in this that we would like to. Yeah, but then we might have to be willing to be part of the editing team also. to and so yeah, I've never been, I mean, I have submitted to a special issue, but I've never been part of the organization of it.
yeah. I haven't either, but yeah, I'm sure we
Yeah.
would be asked to somehow
Right.
take part in the editing process.
Yeah, especially if it's our idea to propose a special session, or they could choose their own editors. Yeah.
Okay. Alexandra, do you have a thought?
Well, I have been involved in a special issue before. I think that's a really good idea. And the way, so you approach the journal that you want to do it in, and then you essentially volunteer to look for authors that would submit to the special issue. So, it's kind of like first we would have to look for a journal and say that we want to do a special issue. And then if they say we could, then the next step would be to gather or to solicit other authors. Like we would have our own paper, but then we would solicit papers from other authors as well. So we'd have to have like a pretty good database of people that we could reach out to that we know would be interested. So it's a little bit difficult, but I think if you do a good job of gathering potential authors and papers, then it would be easier. I think the struggle is when you have a really small list that you're going from, because probably not even 25% of the people you reach out to are gonna respond that they would like to be involved as well. So
Mhm.
Yeah.
that's my experience with it.
And I'm
Which
sure, no, go ahead.
I was gonna say, like, where we are in the science activation community, we probably could find a bunch of people who would be interested in submitting this special issue. So that probably wouldn't be a problem, but it would just be some organization.
Yep. Yeah. Yeah, I think we have a good base in SIAC.
Well, and and I'm sure some kind of special session. I mean, it takes long enough to get papers submitted and then like, accepted and then actually published. I don't know, or special issues take even longer.
Well, sometimes special issues could take a shorter time. If they set the dates, closer.
Yeah, I was gonna say it depends on how quickly you can get people to submit
Yeah.
articles.
Okay.
It's what it comes down. So if you can get them to submit within like 2 or 3 months, you probably could put out a special issue within a few months, but it could also drag on if you're waiting for 3 or 4 people to submit and it's been months, it could drag on too. So I think it depends on the people that you've recruited to submit.
Okay. Okay, so there's AGU. Okay, there's other things coming up, although that's probably the one that might be most likely.
And also more of our people have attended in the past.
Yeah,
So,
that too. Yeah.
yeah.
Oh, okay, well, there's something there possibly
Mhm.
for a special issue.
Can all be looking at the session contents asks, yeah, and see where we might fit in.
Yeah, I'm sure we can figure that out. I wouldn't be too concerned with that. Okay. Okay. Well, it's okay. So we don't overwhelm ourselves. Let's just at least look at AGU
Yes.
once the sessions
First.
come out next few weeks or so.
Mhm.
Do we want to explore a special session within a journal? Or do we want to first figure out what we would be writing about and then see if we can get some people who'd be interested in doing it and then look?
So our focus is on strategies for successful partnerships, community partnerships, whatever that community is, based on each other's, particular project. A community could be a community of educators or informal educators, formal educators, or community members in the community.
Yes, that's the general idea, but I think were we thinking more along the lines of like I think more narrow than, well, I don't, maybe that's not more narrow. Like for example, for reach, right? We are intentionally reaching out with our, that's not accurate. We're trying to help affect change within Black and Latinx communities
Okay.
through outreach. That's
Okay.
what we're trying to do basically.
Okay.
So I think that's what we were thinking. So in the case of us, we would be talking about partnerships. Now, I mean, it could totally be talking about how we're partnering with a library,
Right.
right? That
Right.
serves those communities.
Mhm.
But that's something we still haven't defined quite yet.
Oh, okay,
exactly what it is that we want to talk about.
right. Yeah, so it could be for us, it'll be indigenous communities, Alaska Native mostly, and we've actually worked with Native Americans in other states. Um,
Well, and the Lori or Joelle, I can't remember who our last call, one of the two was there, mentioned plants is the same way. When they reach
Mhm.
out to the indigenous.
Yeah. Planets is indigenous, and then youth experiencing diverse physical abilities
Mm, yeah.
as well.
Yep.
And then there's one other intended audience that is eluding me right now. Sorry.
Yeah, all those are good. And how about the project that works on I'm reaching for the word to describe other abilities, neurodiverse abilities. Yeah, I'm sure that would be of interest to a lot of people too.
Great. Yeah, no, that's all great. So I guess maybe what's still missing for me is, so we say we're gonna talk, present, pick your verb, about partnering with communities.
Mhm.
What do we mean? Like, are we talking about we're gonna write about the process by which we contact somebody we know and then start working with them towards, say, a public event? I mean, what are we writing about? Which we haven't really discussed. I mean, that's not saying that's,
Yeah,
it's just kind of this nebulous, we're talking about partnerships.
right.
Okay.
Well, how do we start those partnerships? How do we even invite them to the work that we are? Because I just came from a webinar, that's why it's a little bit late joining this, from effective community engagement in Arctic communities. And this sisters, one is an academic person, they're both Alaska Natives, and the other one is a community leader. And it was a very good, they give a very good course about how to start in an Arctic community, start work and partnering, when you don't even know anybody there in that community, but you would like for them to be involved in your project, and how important it is to, which we have been applying in our project, how important it is to consider what the priorities are of the community that you're going to be working with. And I'm sure you have been considering that in your work with Latino and Black communities. What is relevant to them, what is meaningful to them, and then, try and meet the goals of the community members as well as your own project goals.
Right.
So we could focus on strategies for effective community partnerships or engagements, or it's wide open. There's a lot.
Yeah, I don't want to speak for the planets team because they're not here, but a lot of where they're at in the project now, they've been engaging with these, individuals representing community, right? I don't want to say they're engaging entire communities. I think the nature of that project is a little smaller scale. There's like folks who represent these communities that they're trying to engage with who are kind of actively participating on the co-design process,
Right.
which is just a little different. And so I don't know. I hear 3 projects and I wonder if, I don't know where everyone's projects are, but if there's kind of that initial, if anyone has a lot to share about that initial engagement, if anyone has a lot to share about how that work how working and collaborating like around the planet's co-design process goes, and then maybe something about sustaining relationships, if we could walk
Yes.
through those 3 phases. Because I do think there's a lot about how to engage communities, but sustaining those relationships after a project funding ends, I think that's really salient for SciAct as well, and other projects focused on community engagement. So that's just
Yes.
one idea I want to throw out there, because I know planets would probably be more focused on the like active co-design work and sustainment processes right now in terms of their relationships and partnerships.
Mhm. Yes, that is very important. Thanks for sharing that, Jen. Because, after the funding is gone, then what? How can the work and the community's concerns continue to be addressed? And yes. So those would be very good aspects to share in articles and papers.
Okay.
And I think our projects in SciAC are on a continuum, depending on where, some of us have been involved from year 1 of our now year 9 work, and some came in the year 6 to 10. And it's fine. I mean, there's always lessons and things that we might not think of or have happened in our project, but can in the future. And so these would all be very helpful information for and learning lessons for all, I think. But enough. I'm talking too much, sorry.
No, you're fine, Alexander put here in a chat box. So with Reach, we're developing this model, right? And it's a model for conducting these workshops that we do, bringing planetary scientists together in with local out of school time educators that are with youth organizations within Black and Latinx communities. And so we've got this model for the planning and preparing and facilitating the workshop, and then doing these public engagements following the workshop to give participants a chance to practice what we've just talked about in the 2-day workshop. So in some ways it's a little different, because what we're actually trying to do is help the local scientists collaborate better with the local educators to continue doing things together after we leave, right? And it's not because we're wanting to get rid of people. That's just what the whole point has always been. It's always been to help the scientists better work with the local folks.
Yep. They're the catalysts, yeah.
What is my computer doing? Weird. Yeah. So just try to get things, help them get going. So it's a little different, but it's the same approach, right? We've got to reach out to local educators and institutions and find out. We'll talk to them and see if they want to work with us. We are finding ways to go back as with the Reach hat, so to speak, and do things again with them. So anyway, it's a little, I mean, it's all has the same approach. It's all the same idea. It's just a little bit different in the execution, I guess.
Okay, it's quiet now, so hopefully it doesn't start out. It's like they're doing construction right outside my door. Yeah, so I guess I was just thinking like we also within our workshop model have like some resources for how to begin starting that partnership. And that's kind of what Elena was talking about earlier. Like, where do you even start? If people who we've never partnered with before. And we like that's part of our workshop model. So even though maybe what we're talking about here is a little bit different, I feel like there's some good resources that we use in our workshop that we can build off of for, for writing this paper.
Mhm.
I keep thinking for us anyway, I keep thinking that for us, it might make more sense to talk about a very specific, let's just say, very specific city where we've been and what we've done
Mhm.
with organizations there.
That would be like a case study, I think.
Mhm. Right. Yeah, and those are always good focus for an article.
Another
No, go ahead.
something that's just come up for me, I think Elena, you were getting at this in a few conversational turns ago. I typed it out all nice here. So another layer, if something emerges, kind of as we're talking, going through these meetings, the process of collaborating together, what are our learnings as we collaborate, as we kind of talk about our own processes, the process of doing that, what does that clarify for us about our own ways we do things, and what do we learn from others with that meta approach? But that might be adding too much, but that's something that has come out in other similar situations where people are sort of sharing their processes. So that if something emerges, we could think about including that.
Good point, Kelly.
There. Okay, sorry, totally muted. So I guess what I'm hearing is it's what we'll write about. Just use that verb. So strategies for initiating, engaging, and sustaining partnerships or community partnerships, be more specific, I guess, with that. And then whatever that looks like is just going to vary across the teams. And what I mean by teams is folks involved in this.
I like that idea, Elena. Exciting.
Well, our evaluators told us they're happy to help us out with data, but
Yeah. And the thing is, I don't think it has to be, we can have a general focus, but then it'll be diverse ways of which community we're talking about, what type of whether it's earth science or space science that we're talking about, that we're sharing with the communities. I mean, and it could be K-12 to undergraduate and grad student communities. It's really, I think it's part of the beauty of it, because then we know that, there'll be something for anyone in the continuum of, whatever they're doing and in what community they work with.
yeah.
So in terms of like how this could be organized, is this kind of like 3 separate case studies, and then we kind of look at the bigger picture and talk about shared lessons and themes and things like that? Or is it more like, I'm just trying to conceptualize what this might look like in terms of a presentation or a paper, I guess.
Yeah, no, yeah. Yeah. So if we were gonna go all in on one thing, whether it's a paper or an abstract or something like that, that would, yeah, I mean, that would make sense. Oh, I can certainly see how. I guess if we did abstracts, separate abstracts, would probably make more sense. So they're trying to cram a bunch of stuff into one. It'd just be easier to follow too if you're in the audience. Just individual cases. But if they all show to have a similar, yeah, I'm just gonna stop it.
Yeah, like we were saying earlier, it probably depends on how the format of the session would go, if you could convince them to make it more like a panel or something, but we can worry about that later.
Mhm.
Okay. Okay, so do we want to, I guess at this point, do we want to? We want to bring anybody else in? And I guess I mean specifically any other groups.
Right. I'm wondering if at the meeting tomorrow, and I can only be there for the first part because I have to hop on a plane. Whether there would be time to introduce this project, this collaborative project, and say, this is what we're thinking. You know, there's first easy step, easy or relatively easy is to see whether it could fit, you know, several different presentations in a session from one of our SIAC groups. And then the longer, bigger one is the special issue for collaborative partnerships. And if anybody else might be interested. Or is it too soon to share? You know, our SIAC group is very creative. I mean, there's lots of good brains there out there. So I don't.
I don't know if it's too early. At the very, I mean, we could probably send Lynn an email just asking if
Mhm.
a minute or two just to say something. Doesn't have to be long.
Yep. Yeah. Yeah, just maybe a short announcement that, you know, we're thinking about this, and if there's any other interested projects.
Okay. Yeah, I'll send Lynn an email, see if we
Yeah.
can get on it real quick. And we can always, you can also all put a bullet in your quad chart too about it,
Mm-hmm.
advertise it that way.
Oh, that's a good reminder, Andy.
Yeah, I
put
just
it in
remembered
my-
that.
I'm still working on our quad chart. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, I just remembered that this morning.
Yeah, so I'll make sure to include that.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So okay, so I'll email Lynn about saying something tomorrow, see if anybody else is interested in working with us. What do we want to do next?
By now we should at least have the titles of the sessions that have been proposed to AGU. I think there is a compilation of that.
They list all the sessions even before they're selected?
Right.
Oh.
I think within, internal to us, internal to SIAC.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Yeah. And most of the times, you know, once you submit a session, it's usually accepted. I haven't heard of a rejection unless it's way out there. So I think there's an Excel worksheet that we have in our SIAC drive or shared folder. Maybe I'll see if I can. I always have to look for the link. Let's see.
And so when we have that, do we want to take a look at that and identify, are there like descriptions too, or is it just like a title? And who submitted it?
It's nice if they have descriptions too. Let's see. SIAC shared with all. I can't see the AGU.
I'm just looking here through the folder index and I don't even see the,
Yeah, I don't see the AGU. I see some other conferences. Um,
okay, so assuming we could find that.
yes, yeah.
Um. So I guess we'll just, so I guess, do we want to see that and see? Well, without a description, it probably wouldn't be too helpful.
Right.
And we can just wait and see once they actually come out anyway. When we get the
Mhm.
descriptions. So at this point, do we want to just start thinking about the different teams putting together their own abstract?
Yeah, because that's the first step in either whether it's the session we're talking about or the um special issue of a journal. We start with an abstract anyway, so we might as well. But I think what we need to do is kind of this maybe have a couple of sentences of what we want to focus on. You know, a sentence that's more inclusive, you know, depending on what the project wants to emphasize. Whether it's strategies for engagement and sustainability, like Jen had mentioned, and all that.
Okay, that makes sense. Just
Yeah,
it, it's our elevator pitch, right?
yeah,
Um,
yeah.
okay, does somebody want to craft that, or do you want to do that like right now?
Well, we have 14 minutes. So let's try.
Here, let me share this. I've been taking notes, kind of.
Okay.
Whoops. All right. I'm just putting this here for now, Paul.
Okay.
So is this, okay, so let me ask this, is this a statement? Oh, geez, okay. Is this a statement that we just want to use to see if people want to join us and um, or yeah, and or,
Probably and or oh good, these are good. These are good things. Thanks for taking good notes.
well, I don't know how good they are, but
No, they're helpful. I mean, they're the key points.
I'm just gonna start typing something and then we can go back and mess with it.
Let's see.
There's a request in the chat that I think I'm gonna also ask for the link to this, to these
Oh.
notes,
Sure.
if that feels like something you're okay with sharing.
And you should be able to.
Thank you.
Oh, by the way, I also found the abstract that we submitted for Arctic Education and Outreach, effective ways of engaging diverse learners in Arctic science. And we could pattern it after it. On Earth and space science education and outreach, effective ways of engaging diverse learners.
I'm sorry, Leah, say it again.
Oh, so we could title a special issue, or I mean a draft of a title. We're just kind of brainstorming what the title of the special issue or session would be. Earth science, Earth and space science education and outreach, effective ways of engaging diverse learners.
Yeah. I mean, that's fine. Yeah. The only reason I'm thinking about this is because so for us, you know, we call ourselves Planetary Reach, right? And we specifically, you know, invite planetary scientists to attend our workshops, and then everything kind of has this planetary, well, and we do hands-on activities, they're planetary themed. But we do that with the understanding that the only thing that makes it planetary is that content, which is actually very small. And the idea being that you could take our workshop model and do it in any discipline.
Yeah.
So I'm fine, you know, saying Earth and space science, because that's kind of exactly what we're doing now specifically.
And earth science is wide open. I mean, it could be on anything, including relationships of, in the whole earth system, including human dimensions of it. And so, yeah, we want it to be as wide open to include different
Would it be too? Would it be too broad to say STEM? Because STEM also kind of implies that it's integrated all, all four, STE and M.
Sure. Okay, let's start writing some words down. So effective ways of engaging diverse learners in STEM. Let's see. Let's see.
I'm gonna jump off right now. Andy, do we have a meeting at 3? Another meeting
Oh, for LA? Yeah.
for LA? Yeah. Okay. All right. So I was gonna be in on that meeting, so I need to take a quick break before I get to that one. So
Sure. Okay.
Yes.
so I'll see you. But I'm sure I'll see you all again at some point. So thank you so much for your ideas today.
Yes, thank you, Alexandra.
Bye.
Okay. So yes, we do only have 5 minutes left.
Yep.
Um, I will send this link out again through email so you guys can have it. You'll have
Yeah,
it somewhere else in this chat.
right.
And I guess that's something we can keep working on. I'll just,
Mhm.
like I said, and I'll email Lynn and just say something briefly.
Oh, good.
Tomorrow.
You got this. Yeah.
Oh, I wouldn't say
Strategies
I've got
for-
it.
Yeah, strategies for
I-
initiating, engaging with, and sustaining authentic community partnerships. That's good. That's great. Okay. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and then invite. Yeah.
Yeah, but we can keep working on this,
Yes.
including the stuff about, because yes, we definitely want to feature the lessons learned.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, we'll keep working on the wording for that.
Yep.
So we should probably meet again, I'd say maybe in a month or so,
Mm-hmm.
especially after the sessions have come out from AGU. Do we want to do that, try to schedule it now, or do we want me to send out some kind of poll? It'd be better to do a poll, because I know the Lori's not on, or Joelle.
Right.
So I'll do that. I'll send out another poll. Do
Yeah.
you all have a preference? So I've used Doodle, but there's only so many choices you can make when you have a free account.
Right.
And I use this thing called Windameet. Do you all have a preference?
I think to me Doodle is easier, but because I'm more familiar with it. But that
Yeah.
Windameet it also works. It's
Okay.
fine.
I prefer Doodle too. I just wish it just would
That
be
it's
more options.
more yeah. Oh, Jen likes when to meet.
Okay.
Depends
That's
how
fine.
many options you need to click into.
Yeah,
One to meet is pretty smooth.
very
Yeah.
specific. Yeah,
All right, well, I'll send one of those around then.
yeah, whichever.
Yeah,
Thank
I understand.
you. Thank you,
Yeah,
Andy,
either
for
one
keep,
is fine. Thank you.
yeah, thank you for keeping us herded.
Oh, well, it's not easy, but you're welcome.
Yeah, herding cats.
All right,
Yeah,
thank you all. Thanks for today.
thank you.
Bye all.